great to be here. Glad to be participating in an event like this. As I said yesterday, I've been saying, and glad to see everybody here. I've been here for many of fights, and to see the media room filled for this event, it really makes me feel good. I'd like to thank Peter Nelson and HBO and their staff, my Rap-A-Lot family. I'd like to thank Mr. Stern for all he's done, provided. And I'd also like to thank the press, no matter who you choose to win, who you choose to push forward. That's your prerogative, and you most certainly deserve it. I didn't really want to come up too much today. You know, I turned 63 last Wednesday, and and it's no secret now that, you know, I've worked with youth all of my professional career. I was just reflecting last night on, I can remember some young men, 13, that I knew and buried them at 15. And, you know, I've seen it all. So it does have an emotional effect on me when it comes to young men. And, you know, I realize that even the age of Sergey and Andre, they're young men to me. And watching that my fight and what Sergey had to endure, it really touched me. And I'm not up here just saying this just to be saying it. It really touched me deeply. And, you know, my heart went out to it. Of course, everybody now knows Andre's background. It's been 8 weeks and a lot of things have come out, and we've chose to keep quiet for the various reasons that we need to keep quiet, because things fly around pretty quick, and until you can get everybody in the room, it's always a mystery to what actually is really going on. I had the great pleasure yesterday of doing a ring debate with Coach Jackson, and even though he has sniped me and questioned, you know, my credentials, which he's entitled to, I walked away from that debate with respect for him. I never had disrespect for him, but I had more respect for him. So I was sort of alluding to yesterday that, you know, I was troubled by a few things, some things that I had observed in the camp, whether Sergey listens to Coach Jackson or not, when it comes to, you know, doing things his way. So imagine getting up this morning and realizing within myself that we heard about, you know, the troubles in Russia, and how Sergey was, you know, overwhelmed with family and friends and things, and selling the tickets and things like that, and it didn't allow him to put on the performance that was expected of him. Although we do have to give Isaac Shalimba a lot of credit with the attitude to come to win. We do have to give him a portion of the credit. I think what disturbs me most is that Coach Jackson didn't get there until a week before the fight. Now, Ms. Duva, with all respect, in New York, introduced Coach Jackson as the best trainer in boxing. And I'm trying to figure out in my mind, why would you leave the best trainer in boxing behind until a week before the fight? So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know, but that seems to be the case. And it's not airing out trash, it's leaving questions to be asked. I can't answer it, and if I am wrong, then I'll even feel better about it. As I said yesterday, the respect that I gained from Coach Jackson yesterday, and being in the coaching fraternity is a very difficult fraternity, and so I tend to align myself with every coach because it's so tough. So that's the case. Also, And this is real, it's not easy to get out because, again, looking at how Sergey lost his dad, man, early. All these things affect you when you're young. I never came up around my real father, and I often wondered, what would I have been? Maybe if he'd have been there. I'm thankful for how things turned out. I had a great stepdad, and he was really the only dad that I knew. And this is a 50-50 fight, but the pay doesn't reflect that. How does the challenger get a boatload of money, but the champion don't? I don't understand that. I think those are some questions that need to be asked. And everybody here say, well, you're doing it. No, it's not like that. I'm really torn by it because, again, until you've been in my shoes and have worked with young men and seen the sufferings of things, you never know. But I don't understand it. Maybe he was fine with it, or maybe it's not true, and that would be the best news I can get. But again, I might just be blowing smoke and rattling, and when I'm saying rattling up here, because it is something that really bothered me. And call me weird or whatever you want to call me, or later on if you have to remark on what I've said today, you're entitled to remark the way you want to remark. But if everybody's fine with it, then I'm fine with it. But it did bother me. Getting to the fight, I believe it's going to be a great fight. And I believe that Sergey is everything that they say he is. He's a dangerous opponent. He's coming intending to win. We've seen him do things to opponents that when they step in the ring, they shiver. And I think that he carries that persona with him justifiably. So really it's up to us to, dilute that situation. So I'm looking forward to November 19th. And I'd like to see all these, Sergey's 33 now, Andre's 32. This is an age in boxing where you're looking for your exit strategy. So when you make a remark that there was a time when fighters were courageous and not cynical businessmen, I think that takes us back to the 40s or the 50s. You fight, I'll do your business, and then when you finish fighting, you look up and you don't have no money. But in the meantime, my grandkids going to college on your blood, sweat, and tears. And in the meantime, you can take a bow at the next fight 10 years from now, and everybody tell you how great you were and how they enjoyed your fighting, but you don't have no money. So I encourage all fighters to be cynical businessmen. Don't be a robot. And it's easy from the foreign countries to get that type of fighter and pay them what you want to pay them. And they should be happy with it. And if that's the case, so be it. But I just encourage them all to be businessmen, and you have a right to be a businessman. In other sports, athletes are businessmen. You're no longer robots. It just saddens me because I came through the civil rights era. I came through all during that time. I'm a very avid historical reader of all the major events that took place in Russia, from Nikita Khrushchev to Stalin to Brezhnev to Putin. I remember the Bay of Pigs very well. My father was on the USS Ranger, the aircraft carrier, and I can remember my mother telling us, it could possibly be a war, a nuclear war, and here you are, 9 years old, 10 years old, and you're hearing that. That's a spooky, spooky thing. So I became very entrenched in Soviet history as a result of that. And I love the Spetsnaz. You know, some of the toughest cats you ever seen in life. And the story of how they developed in war, you know, World War II with Hitler, how they had to go and disarm that big gun that he brought within firing range of the Soviet territory. So it's a lot of historical things that accompany that. And I'm sorry if I got off track a little bit from the fight. Sometimes when I get emotional about certain things, you know, I can go here and go there. But I would encourage all promoters, you know, treat your fighters fairly. Don't hoodwink them, and don't keep them robots, and don't keep them, encourage them and teach them how to be businessmen. And, you know, if you have a champion, he deserves a champion's ration. Again, hopefully I'm wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Virgil. Well, let's bring.
You already know what it is. It's Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe and the like button today.